Silver, gold, and the precious metal mining stocks are in an unbelievable position right now. Unfortunately, that's happening because the wheels seem to be falling off the bus of the world. We're going to talk about in this video like 28 reasons why we can be optimistic about the silver and gold price. Big news from Trump. Things are really happening there. We'll talk about that in the latter half of our time together. But we got a bunch of small stories that are big stories that add up to a very, very optimistic future for the price of silver and gold. The thing I'm most optimistic about is the fact that you've decided to join me here today. Thank you for choosing to be here. You're important. Your time is important. Please subscribe to the channel. Give the video a thumbs up. You can read the comments. You can see that everybody doesn't agree with me, and that's okay. Leave a comment in the comment section. But let's talk about silver first, because this is getting very interesting. We know the silver deficit. We know the demand for silver is going through the roof. But what are we hearing from the world's biggest silver producer, the world's biggest silver miner, which will indicate to us that we could be in for even better times in the silver market? Let's take a look at this. I was shocked to hear this. And what we are seeing is from Silver Academy, silver on the brink, the world's most critical metal faces imminent extinction as mines can't keep up with soaring demand. But here's the interesting part, guys, and I'm going to give you the reason why this is so important. The decline in the world's largest silver miner begins. Fresnillo PLC reported 12% decline in first half 2025 silver production. Global silver mine supply to continue declining in the years ahead. And that's from Stephen St. Angelo. And as you can see on this chart right here, which shows the first half of 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, and then 2025 fell off a cliff. This is the world's biggest silver miner. There's nobody that makes more silver than Fresnillo. Their output is going down, not staying level, going down. We already know that there happens to be a physical silver deficit. There has been for like the last 5 years. What does that tell us, right? There's a reason why we're not, I say excited, we're just talking about the facts that when the world's biggest silver miner reports a massive decrease in production, that bodes well for the demand is going to keep going up. The supply is going to keep going down. Okay, let's move on here. And the silver shorts are still high. We're going to go out to Arcadia Economics, our good friend, Chris Marcus. I did a screenshot of this. This was in his, he has a Substack that you can subscribe to. One final note is that the silver short position held by the banks actually did decrease last week by 693 contracts over the past reporting week. Remember, big short position could lead to a big short squeeze, to a net short position of 48,707 contracts, which is not far off from the all-time record. It means that the short position is still on the high side right now. So these big bullion banks, these big players out there in the world of silver, the paper, the COMEX, in the LBMA, the London Bullion Market Association in London, England, who has suppressed the price of silver for decades and decades, they still have a massive short position. What that means is they sold silver, okay, and at some point, they're going to need to buy it back to fulfill their contract. That can create a short squeeze. And we still are near historically very high levels when it comes to the short position that those fine people at the electronic and paper exchanges have right now. Okay, let's move over. Let's talk about, think about this. Think about this. When the generalist investor starts to see all the money that's being made, I mean, the miners are making gobs and gobs of money. Not only is that going to bring the generalist investor into the precious metal mining stocks, but it will also bode well for the actual metals themselves, silver and gold. We're going to take a look at some crazy data. It is crazy. We've not even begun to see the flow of money from the generalist investors into the precious metal sector. And when that happens, it will be crazy. If you believe that the price of silver is headed higher, if you love wonderful silver products, check this out. It's a 5-ounce silver bar from our channel sponsor, First Mint. First Mint is a mint located in Las Vegas, Nevada, USA. This is made in the USA minted products. But what's interesting is that they're owned by First Majestic Silver, Keith Neumeyer's juggernaut silver mining company. So First Mint gets their silver from First Majestic, who mines it in Mexico, sends it to Las Vegas, where it's minted into world-class silver bullion products. They have beautiful, all unique rounds, bars. You need to check them out. Here, we'll run out to their website quickly and see what First Mint, what are they showing for us right now? That's the Year of the Dragon coin. That's the Buffalo round with the Indian that I absolutely love. There's their new Las Vegas round that I've been showing you guys, and there's their silver bars. Firstmint.com. Great prices, great selection, free shipping on orders over $199. And there's a discount code. I'm going to look you in the eye when we say this. VIPRB. That'll get you a little discount as well. Thank you, First Mint, for sponsoring Ron's Basement. But what about these profits being made by the mining companies that are going to bring eyeballs to the entire precious metal sector? Let's run out here and take a look at what we learned from our friend Tavi Costa. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay. Gold producers margins updated. We're living through what could be described as the golden age of mining. Yet, it's striking to see that many mining stocks still trade as if gold were at $2,000 an ounce. And take a look at this chart, guys, okay? The blue line is the cost for the mining companies to get the gold out of the ground. The yellow line is the gold price. Do you see how incredible this is right now? I mean, you know, we're in this like smaller zone down here of profit. Look at this. Look at this. Profit. That's profit margin. Again, the reason why we want to recognize this is because when the generalist investors come to the mining stocks, they're also likely going to have money flowing into the metals as well. And a lot of you are like me and also own not only metals, but the precious metal mining stocks. All right, let's go back out. We're all over the place today, but man, we got some interesting things to look at right now. We're going to talk about just thinking about the gold price. And again, the gold price will have a major, major impact on the silver price. And when we look at the amount of the price of gold as a ratio to U.S. Treasury gold reserves currently account to a mere 2% of the outstanding government debt. So this chart compares, right, the gold reserves, which is the yellow line down here, okay, this area down here, to the U.S. debt, okay, which is the blue line. All right, there it is right there. It tells us and look at how right now, what is it, 2%? Now, the important thing for us to remember on this one is that the only thing that can fix this, think about it, they're not going to bring the blue line down. Again, the blue line is the national debt. Okay, the only thing they can't, it's mathematically impossible. They just aren't going to reduce the national debt. It's only going to get bigger. The only thing that fixes this graph is this right here. The yellow line, which again is the value of our gold reserves. Oh, well, there they drew it for us, the red checkered line going up. And as you can see, right, historically, gold a lot of times was worth as much or more than the entire national debt. So again, the only thing that fixes this is higher gold price, and we know that a higher gold price is going to mean a higher silver price as well. What about, let's move over here. What about the amount of money that the Western investors have in gold? We know, again, with both gold and silver, and there are signs of improvement in this arena. But when the Western investor comes back, this is a post from Jordan Roy Byrne talking about the implied allocation to gold remains very low. Okay, this shows the amount of allocation of gold by comparing ETFs. The ETF market share of gold ETFs versus the entire ETF asset universe. And as you can see, again, make sure we got you guys on the right screen, which we do. Let's pull out the crayons. Okay. That number, even as recently as 2011, gold ETFs accounted for almost 8% of the entire ETF universe. Today, we're not even at 2%. Okay, look, here we are right here. There's 2%. We're not even at 2%. If that were to go to 8%, just for example, if my mathematics are correct, that would be a 4 times increase in the amount of money that would be inside of the gold and silver ETF sector, the gold ETF sector. But again, that would bleed over into the silver price as well and the silver ETF. Hey, I want to say thank you one more time for being here. Seriously, it's a big deal. I always want you to feel welcome and like you found a home away from home here in the basement. One more time, I'll beg you, please. We've got a special going on subscriptions. They're free. We never charge anything. How could I charge you to come down here and hang out in the basement with me? Please subscribe to the channel, share, and leave a comment. But think about, okay, let's talk about scary. This is bad. That's what the thumbnail for this video said. And it is bad because suddenly the wheels fell off the bus again. We talked about it earlier in the week. Donald Trump is all about volatility. Donald Trump is all about drama. Donald Trump is all about really craziness. And I'm not saying that. It is no way a political statement. This is not a political channel. I'm just reporting the news as I see it. But guys, things are getting crazy out there. And when things get crazy, people look for safe havens. And that's the reason why we want to keep a close tab on what's going on, because gold and silver are the safe havens. But let's just talk about some of the craziness that's unfolding right now. Let's go to story number 1. All right, here we go. Oop, hold on, a little technical problem. Okay, we're back. Hopefully you guys, can you see me and hear me? I don't know. Looks like we're having some issues here. Hello? Okay, hopefully you guys can see me and hear me. I'll just keep going here. This is from the Kobisi letter yesterday. You know, we had the jobs numbers yesterday that were way lower than expectations. And then this crazy revision of 250. They wrote down, they reduced the number of jobs that they had reported in the previous 2 months by over 250,000 jobs. Unbelievable. And then you can't make this up. The Kobisi letter says Trump literally just fired the person who revised the job numbers down by 258,000. And he's questioning if the July numbers are real, calling the 73,000 jobs number a shock, only to conclude by saying that Jerome Powell should be put out to pasture. Oh, I'm tempted. I'll let you guys read this on your own. The stuff that is going on in Washington, D.C., between the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, between the president and the Fed is truly unprecedented. I mean, it is really, really a crazy situation. Here, let's go out and see what Zero Hedge had to say about this. No one can be that wrong, quote unquote. Trump fires labor statistics boss after rigged jobs data. Now, what's interesting here is that Trump keeps pressuring Powell to lower rates. And one of the things that Powell would need to see to lower rates would be a weaker job market. But Trump's kind of between a rock and a hard place, because if there's a weaker job market, that makes his economy look, quote unquote, not strong, but it gives Powell more of a solid platform from which to lower rates. It is absolutely nutty, guys. It is insane what is going on right now. And I want to remind you of something very important. It's important that we take deep breaths as we observe all this, but realize the most important thing, which is that the net effect, when you distill all of this craziness down, what it means is a weaker dollar in real terms going forward, no matter how you slice it or dice it, right? No matter what angle you look at it. When we look around the corner right? Because that's what we do. You've got a good head on your shoulders. It's a known fact that us basement dwellers, we have a little more, let's say, intellectual horsepower than the average bear. But nonetheless, when we look around the corner, what we see coming is a weaker dollar in real terms. It can get very confusing trying to look at all this. We got more Trump drama to look at, but before we do that, I do want to say thank you to channel sponsor First Mining Gold. They sponsor the gold and silver, Ron's Basement content. They are a gold mining company, development stage, okay, with two big, massive projects in Canada. They're working through the permitting and the exploration process. The Duparquet project, which is in Quebec, and the Springpole project, which is in Ontario, both of which have multi-million ounce deposits in the ground, have been drilled, defined, all that wonderful stuff. They also have another project called the Cameron Project, which also has hundreds of thousands, approaching 1 million ounces of gold resource in the ground. It's stock that I've owned. Oh, I got to throw in my disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. Don't make any kind of financial decisions based on anything that I say. I'm just a guy in his basement who happens to have a very strong vision about the future of gold and silver and precious metal mining stocks, but I'm not an official financial advisor, okay? If you want to learn more about First Mining Gold, you can go to their website, firstmininggold.com, and you can even reach out to their Director of Investor Relations, Mr. Paul Morris, Paul at firstmininggold.com. But what else is Trump up to? Well, let's just go take a look. Here we go. This came out, Metals and Miners. Here, President Trump, the latest. Hold on. There we go. Yep. President Trump demands that the Federal Reserve Board wrest control of the central bank from Fed Chair Powell. He fires the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and on the same day starts to encourage a revolt at the Fed. That the Fed board take away and basically fire Jerome Powell. I mean, it's becoming everything was like real smooth sailing for like 3 or 4 weeks, and then suddenly one day, oh, and what happened? Man, I forgot. I apologize, basement dwellers. What happened as the wheels fell off yesterday is this. Let's go take a look. We'll go out to CNBC. And this is what happened. Oh my God, I didn't realize it was that crazy. Gold yesterday was up $67 in the futures market. $3,416. Wow. And silver up 40 cents. I knew they were up big. I didn't realize they were up that big. So that's why we're paying attention to what's going on in Washington, D.C. and with Trump. Here's a Trump headline. No, we're not even talking about the tariffs. Right? We've got that whole situation. Oh, sorry. I know. But we'll talk about that in a future live stream. But we got the Fed firing the Fed head, firing the head of the BLS. The head of the Fed's not been fired. We got the tariff situation. Oh, here, to make it even more interesting and scary, I might add. Here we go. Trump deploys 2 nuclear subs after Medvedev's foolish inflammatory statement. So I guess the Russian defense minister said some stuff last week. So now we have 2 nuclear submarines moving into, I guess, what you might call defensive or offensive posture around Russia. Just nuclear submarines. On a serious note, of course, we don't ever want war, and we certainly don't want to think about nuclear war. But let this headline read what it will. Man, are you feeling exhausted? I mean, it is just absolutely crazy. Finally, with Trump, we'll do one more. This is it. Okay, this believe came from Arcadia Economics later last week. But Trump said this. All right, he wants a weak dollar. Okay, guys, he wants to run up the debt. Don't let whatever they're saying. He wants a weak dollar and to run up the debt. Trump said a strong dollar sounds good, but you make a hell of a lot more with a weaker one. Second paragraph here. So when we have a strong dollar, one thing happens. It sounds good, but you don't do any tourism. You can't sell tractors. You can't sell trucks. You can't sell anything, Trump said at the White House before leaving on his trip to Scotland. Okay, we've got craziness going on, and we have a weak dollar. And what that means for you and me as a precious metal investor is if we price this stuff, right, silver, like this 5-ounce silver bar from First Met, right, if we price it in US dollars, as we go down, I'm not talking months, quarters, years, I'm talking decades. My belief, right, the value of this, if we decide to use the US dollar as the unit of measure to value it, will go up in dollar terms. But another important thing for you to remember, very critical, right, and it's a hard concept, but I know you can do it because you're smart, is that we don't want to think of this. Is this, well, probably worth what, about $180, a 5-ounce silver bar? Is it $180 or is it 5 ounces of silver? Think of your metals in terms of ounces, okay? Because these ounces were around for thousands of years before this thing came on the scene. Woo, there it is, huh? The paper dollar, right? The fiat dollar. Think of our metals in terms of ounces. And that's a real pure, wholesome way to think about it in a more of a timeless way, because this, right? Now, this is fresh silver, as I told you, out of the ground in Mexico, but silver has been around for hundreds and hundreds of fiat paper money systems that have come and that have gone. Things are bad. I just want to end with this, okay? I know it seems like everything is hunky-dory. I hear people say, oh, I go out on the street, people are at restaurants, and I agree 100%, right? Things on the surface look very good in the U.S. economy. But let me give you an example, an analogy. If I came to you as a friend, I'm coming to you right now as a friend, okay? And I told you my financial situation was one in which I owed $500,000 on this beautiful house I get to live in, $500,000 in mortgage debt. I've got $80,000 in car debt. I've got $100,000 in student debt. I've got, another $50,000 in buy now, pay later. I got another $100,000 in home equity line of credit. I got like $900,000 in debt. And I make about, let's say, $90,000 per year. All right. But on the surface, everything's great. We got a 6-month-old Chevy Tahoe in the garage. We got a beautiful Honda Odyssey minivan. We're going on vacation. We're doing great. You'd say, yeah, maybe you are doing great on the surface, but when you peel back the hood and look under the hood, Ron, you're not doing great. You can barely afford to pay the interest payment on the debt that you own, and you keep piling up more and more debt. That is exactly what our country is doing. So on the surface, and by the way, that's not my financial situation, thankfully, but on the surface, I would look, oh, I'm doing great. I'm a great dad, a great father. We're doing wonderful. But the reality would be something much different. And I don't like to have to say that this either, but that's what's going on with this country. Look, I was born here. I love this country. I love the United States of America. I hate what our previous leadership has done to put you and me, if you are joining from America, in this horrible situation in which we find ourselves now. It is very despicable. So as we think about silver and gold, the reason I told you that example is we think about silver and gold in terms of the next decade. Guys, look, unless there's some miracle that occurs, there ain't no way that the dollar can do anything but continue to dilute, continue to devalue, continue to be worthless. I'm not saying it's going to be worthless. I'm not one of these, oh, you need to be ready with your silver because of the zombie apocalypse and you're only going to be able to buy food. No, maybe that'll happen. I'm not saying it won't, and I'm not casting any shade on people that do, but most realistically, very realistically, we're going to be in a situation where the U.S. dollar continues to buy less. I'm not even going to go down the China, India, Russia road, but I will briefly, right? We're in a situation now where the world, we're very similar to the 1970s, except for two big things. And there's two big reasons why we want to pay attention to this. Reason number one, as I just described ad nauseum, the U.S. financial situation, the amount of debt that we have is way worse now than it was in the 70s. And reason number two, the world has changed. In the 1970s, the Chinese economy, the Indian economy, and even the Russian economy was nothing like it is now. But the world has changed. Asia, is taking over the pricing mechanism of the metals. I mean, we are in a perfect storm where I think, I could be wrong, I'm not a financial advisor. Trust your financial advisor. They have fancy TV commercials, and they're always looking out for your best interest. But nonetheless, I think that the future for silver and gold look better than ever before. And heck, like we talked about earlier, the world's biggest silver miner and production's going down. Hey, thank you for being here. You are special. You are unique. Don't forget that. You're always welcome to join me here in the basement. I'm going to look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day, and we will see you soon. Don't forget, subscribe and comment and share.